Good evening, Honora. Mr. Honora, sorry. We'll just start in 2 minutes. Some people messaging me, they're just joining.
Okay.
Good evening, Astha. Okay, friends, so we'll start. Many people are more to join, but we have to start on time. We're already late. So, good evening, friends, and good morning, Chair.
Good morning, sir.
Uh, Let me introduce you to, friends, I'm sure all of you have either faced some kind of a problems with email or have heard somebody having problems and have been scared that, what may happen. And sometimes payments issues also get connected to it. Today, we have one person who will be sharing his experience also in the end. So, to address this issue of how to, protect your email and communications, we have Chahak Mittal with us, who is a security analyst. She has done her master's in cybersecurity from Eastern Michigan University in US, and she is working as a security analyst with Universal Logistics Holding in US. She has also worked in CyberForce Q as an incident response analyst, and she is the ambassador of Cyber Wellness Center. And so she is going to today take us through the journey that how we should, what all care we should take, how we should protect ourselves from such, and what are the remedies. So, Chak, it's your subject. It's over to you.
Yes, thank you so much, sir, for today's session. First of all, good evening, everyone, and good morning if anyone is from US or North America. So I think we all are using emails these days for most of our corporate communications as well as personal communications, sending all sorts of presentations or documents, and even Google Drive for saving our pictures or audios, videos, etc. But the email which we are using, it might be compromised. You would be getting many spam emails, you would be getting many fake emails, malicious emails. So today we'll be discussing that how business email compromise happens. What is business email compromise? So basically, just giving you an overview, it is mostly targeted for financial gains, for financial purposes, for wire transfers, for money transfers. So I'm sharing my screen, and let's begin with today's session. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes, yeah, perfect.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so today's safety topic is business email compromise. I request everyone to please keep your audio on mute. Okay. So basically, what is business email compromise? It is also known as email account compromise. So it is one of the most financially damaging online crimes, because we do not, when we are in a hurry or when we see that we get an email from a person we know or a bank we are dealing with or any company we are dealing with, we don't bother to give it a deep look. we don't bother to analyze, if there is some spelling mistake in the email, or what the person is, asking us. He's asking us to click on a link, or sometimes the email is so intense that it hits your soft spot, and that immediately you are lured into clicking some link which is in the email. So this BEC, business email compromise, it exploits the fact that so many of us rely on email to conduct business, and mostly professional business. In BEC, criminals send an email message that appears to come from a known source, like a legitimate request. For example, a home buyer receives a message from his company with instructions on how to wire his down payment. Means you are buying a house and you have your real estate agent sending you an email that, okay, you have to transfer your money through this link. Or you do a lot of online shopping and you get email that, okay, for example, let's say Amazon.com, you get an email that you are doing a lot of shopping, and as a reward they're giving you a gift card, so you can click on this link to access your gift card. Or you are a vendor and your company regularly deals with sending invoices. So that might be one of the malicious link that, okay, you have to pay your invoice through this link. Okay. So first of all, how does it take place? The hackers or the bad people, who could be anyone, like it could be a state sponsored attack, it could be like a journal person taking revenge, or anyone who knows that you have a lot of money and wants you to transfer money into his account. So first of all, what is the first step? They identify a target. How is a target identified? We all use, like 99.99% of us use social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We post a lot of information there, right? LinkedIn, we post everything, like what is our job title, in which company we are working. On social media we post pictures of luxurious things we are buying, to show off, and etc. So the criminals keep an eye on all of us, right? And they know who should be our target, who has money, who is weaker in psychology. They study everything. So they identify the target first of all. Second is, obviously they have access to our emails, like they know what is our email ID. For example, I work in let's say abc.com company. So most of the companies have email IDs like your first initial of your first name, then your last name @abc.com. Like mine is cmittal@abc.com, or it could be jshah@abc.com, right? So these kind of emails are very easy to guess. Second, we post our emails everywhere. On our Facebook, we post our emails. On LinkedIn, obviously, we post our emails. We want the recruiters to connect with us. So our email is there outside. And even most of the emails are leaked in the deep web or dark web. So they are out there, they are exposed. So next, what happens, the emails which we get from these hackers or these attackers, they are like typo squatting emails. So what is typo squatting? Typo means a typing mistake. For example, you have a lot of, you can see a lot of examples here, like github.com. The I in the original email ID is small, but they'll give you a capital I in the typo domain. Google, Amazon, even the type of A which they are writing, that you just have to be very cautious, right? Just see at the first sight, we cannot make a judgment that what is wrong, right? Or can anyone like tell me that at the first sight, can you spot the difference without looking? Yes.
Yeah,
So
we
these
We are
are,
not able to spot.
yes. So these are the things which we need to, make sure. So what they do is they send you a typo squatting domain, any email. They make you believe that this email or the website which you are using is authentic, right? And they just create very slight differences. And they can use leaked email accounts for this step. Like I told you, how our emails could be leaked. Okay, this is another example from, can you please keep your mute your mic? Okay, so this is another example, like you're getting an email from a bank. So can you spot like what's the difference there? It is bank.com, but it's like the dot is after C. So these are, you would read that, okay, account services at reallybank.com. In the first second or like at the first glance, we are unable to judge that it might be wrong, right? We see the logo is correct, we see the person is correct, the name, everything is correct. So, and they said that in order to protect the security of your account, we occasionally ask that you verify your login credentials. And we would click here, right? Because security is a very big issue nowadays, and everyone wants to be secured, but they don't know that how to be secured, right? So they'll trust their bank, obviously, and they'll click on this link. They will enter their credentials, and obviously those credentials will be sent to the attacker. So this is how, someone's mic is not mute.
All mic are mute.
Okay. Yeah, now it's correct. So this is the second example of how the typo domains, they lure us into clicking onto malicious links. Okay. So what is the third thing which they do is they send spear phishing emails. We all know what are phishing emails, right? Phishing emails are like they target you, they give you a bait, and you click on those links. So what is a spear phishing? It is an email scam which is targeted towards a specific individual. Phishing could be random, anyone would get it. It's like a hit and trial. Whoever clicks, he's caught up. But spear phishing is like the hackers target a particular group, a particular individual, or a particular company. For example, Fidelity, right? They so who would be the most targeted person? The person or the group who deals with finances, like accounts payable, or any company's accounts payable department who send the pays every month or every 15 days. So these are the particular groups of people or the departments which are targeted. So that is spear phishing, to hit on a particular spot to target a particular person who deals with financial dealings. Okay. So next is, this is another example, like you'll get an email from a person, your friend, your family member, your relative. The name would be very common, like this person, but the email ID is not the correct email ID, and the message would be sent from iPhone. Like it'll appear that the person is sending the message from iPhone. You don't know the person's email ID, but you will see, okay, the name is correct, okay, I know this person, he's my friend, and he's asking me to wire transfer me some money. Okay, we'll do it. But what's the catch here? Always verify through another communication channel. Like if you're getting an email, call that person or text that person that, hey, did you send me this email? Do you want money? So always double check. Or if you're not sure about that, you can always report phishing, right? You can click on this, you can see this icon here. You can always click report phishing or report spam, or block this email. If a person is really in need, he can contact you through other channels as well. So just focus on your instinct and always double check with the person who is sending you any email or message which has talks about some money transfer or clicking on some link, etc. Now, the last step, they have found a target. They have sent you an email with some typo domain or typo web address. And now is that they are using malicious software. Malicious software is any malware they can use. They can inject virus, worm, Trojan, ransomware, spyware, rootkit, anything. And how does this thing gets installed on your computer? By clicking that link which is in the email or in the message. So any such kind of malware will be automatically downloaded into your computer, and you won't even come to know that something has happened. And slowly, your computer would start hanging, and the battery would exhaust very quickly, or your small amounts be deducted from your bank account, and you won't even come to know. And it is the irony that 95% of the time we don't know we are hacked. This is I read a saying about one person was giving a seminar, and he said that there are two kinds of company. There are two types of company. One which have been hacked, and the second which still don't know that they have been hacked. So that's true actually. Okay, so next is what could we do to protect ourselves? So first of all, as I always tell you, be vigilant. So safety begins with vigilance. Be alert, be vigilant, and be careful with what information you are sharing online or on social media. Please be careful. Apply the privacy settings on any application you are using. So by openly sharing things like which school you attended, which college you have gone to, what company you're working with, I have seen like on Facebook, 90% of the people, they post their phone numbers, they post their personal email IDs. So we should not do that. By doing this, we are giving the scammer an open platform, like, okay, you don't need to dig or work through getting my credentials. I'm giving you it openly. So we should stop doing that. Second is the passwords which we use, they should not be easily guessable. I know the password is the weakest form of security. It could be easily guessable. A password just takes about fraction of seconds to be guessed if it is very small, and it does not use any special characters or numbers or special signs. So always make sure you have a long password which includes capital alphabet, small alphabet, special characters, numbers, and special signs. Always make sure. And second, as I told you that passwords alone, they are the weakest form. So always use a multi-factor authentication. I hope you all might have heard about Duo, Cisco Duo, and Microsoft Authenticator. You can text.
Yes.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So always make sure that you are using Duo or any other type of multi-factor authentication. So what is multi-factor authentication? It is a combination of 3 or more factors, like something you know, something you have, and something you are. Okay. So it is like password would be something you know, because only you know your password. But what if it's been compromised? You should have a second layer that is something you have. Only you have your phone, mobile phone, only you have access to your phone, and the verification code through this multi-factor authentication, it comes to your mobile phone. That is the second factor, that is something you have. Okay. And third could be like in iPhones or many other phones, we have biometric scans, like they check the face ID or they check fingerprints. So these are the 3 things which definitely you should have. Never rely on just one method. Always have a password with multi-factor authentication, a password with your fingerprint or face scan, or a PIN with your face scan or MFA. Never rely on one thing. A layered security is the best security defense you can have. Okay. So this is, you should always make sure that you are using MFA, and it is very easy. You can download the Duo app and you can link it through your Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, any application you're using, even your bank accounts, your email IDs. You can link multiple things with Duo or a Microsoft Authenticator. Okay, the second thing is carefully scrutinize all email requests for transfer of funds. As I told you, if you get an email from a person, just text him or call him. Hey, did you send me an email to wire transfer you some money? Okay. Always double check. Even if it is your bank, you can call the helpline, or you can, you can befriend some manager of a bank, and you can just, call them that, okay, I've got this email. Is it legitimate? It won't make a difference if you send the money a few minutes later or a few hours later. Your safety is the most important thing. Okay. Flag emails with extensions that are similar to company email. Just see the difference here. Spot the difference. It is 123abccompany.com. The second thing is also that, but there's a hyphen between ABC and company. So always check the emails, the dots, the spellings, like the font styles which are being used. Always check. Okay, so let's see this example here from PayPal. It is australia.com.au. Such domains never exist. Either it would be .com or it would be .au or .in or .edu. Never two extensions are never combined. So always make sure you check that thing. And especially suspicious subject and content, like your account has been limited. There is no such word exist like your account has been limited. Either it would be your account has been compromised or something like that, legitimate, which you can understand. Whenever you read the email, check, does it make some sense grammatically, or does it sound, understandable to you? You need to log in your account. Can you tell me what should be the right thing here? Anyone? Instead of log in your account, what should be the correct thing? No one? Okay.
You
So
can
it should be,
write. You can also write in the chat. So yeah, okay,
yeah.
carry on.
Okay. So it will be log into your account, not log in your account. These are very minor mistakes, but if we are, vigilant, we are alert, and we know what is the correct thing which should be written, then we can detect these changes, we can detect these alterations. So you will need to log into your account. Okay. And next is they will hoover you over to some links. Okay, log in your account now. Never any bank or any site, they don't force you that, okay, you have to do it something now. So whenever you see these kind of things, just detect them. You can take a screenshot of this slide, and so that as a reminder, you can refer to this, that okay, these kind of mistakes might happen. Okay, second is educate your users about BEC attacks, particularly executives or staff who have authority to release funds or critical information. So in the beginning, I told you all that BEC specifically focuses on financial transactions, financial frauds. So if you are, you work in a corporate, or you work in any company, startup, etc. So make sure you conduct some campaign, or you educate your co-workers, or even your senior management and your fellow staff members about such attacks, right? So there are two things. Like, first of all, your company should have good policies. Second, you should always have good awareness and training sessions. They are the most important things, because your employees are the strongest links to your chain. So always educate them, focus on their awareness and training, and enforce good policies in your company. Okay, so second email is request from CEO, immediate wire transfer. Please process a wire transfer. Okay, why would a CEO have such kind of an email to the CFO? Okay, immediately wire transfer me this much. No, that's not the case. So whenever such emails are there, just scrutinize them based upon your vigilance, your understanding, and go with your instinct. If it says, if you feel something is fishy, accept it and take the necessary action. And if anyone is working in a utility industry like water pipelines or electricity, or you deal with gas pipelines, so you should be extra cautious, because recently there was a US nuclear weapons contractor who was hit by a big ransomware by Russian cyber gang. So, and currently also in India as well as in US or Iran, there are many attacks going for the national infrastructure. So we should be very much careful. Be vigilant. Always remember that common sense is the biggest tool which you can use against such attackers. Okay, so we will carefully examine the email address. I told you about multi-factor authentication, and then you should always verify your purchase or your payments which you do online, and never be in a hurry to click anything or to send the money immediately or to shop immediately. Always make sure that you are, if you're doing online shopping, for example, you're doing it through a legitimate site like, okay, Amazon or like Facebook Marketplace or stuff like that. Never, whenever you get some advertisement, okay, you are getting something for 10 rupees or 1 rupee. These kind of advertisements are, a lot of emerging nowadays. So always make sure that you do not get lured. So there is, this picture. Get free iPhone to first 50 responders. See, no one is that stupid enough to give you iPhone for free. Okay, your bank debit cards has been expired, or you have won this much rupee or this many dollars, or you have won a bike or a car. See, it's all hoax. Okay, never believe in such things. So that was it from my side. And yes, I'm here. Any questions, anyone?
Yeah. Vipin, you had raised your hand. You have a question? Anyone wants to ask, you can unmute and ask also. Yeah, so Hardik, are you there? Hardik, would you like to share your experience? What happened with you?
Yes, sir. Sure. Few days ago, someone made a similar ID which I have by changing a single word in it. And he emailed one of my customer that I'm having some issues in our Indian bank and sent that payment to a bank account which we have in Spain. And he also attached a revised invoice in which our bank details was changed. I didn't confirm anything as he thought he is getting email from us only, and he sent the money to Spain. And after that, he sent us all the proof of that he has made the payment.
Then what
It was So it was the case of that typo squatting only. Now I got to know.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Then
Hardik,
today,
what could,
yeah.
continue.
So finally, after from days, the container was on hold at the USA port, and we released it today only. The buyer sent us 50% payment only and told that if he will get the payment again from the bank, then he will send this the balance payment.
Yeah, because this is a fraud, so we will have to file a fraud matter with this,
Yes, right.
and
Yes,
bank will.
always report it to your near police station or your nearest crime branch, cyber crime branch. Always report these things. And Hardik, from now onwards, like you have received such a kind of incident you have been through, the most important thing is that you should guide all your customers that about this incident so that it is not repeated in the future. Ask your customers to be vigilant, and they can always double check with your customer care or anyone from your company
Yeah,
that okay,
exactly,
there's
right.
such kind of a case. So always educate them. Awareness and
Right.
training is the most important thing because
We have
your
also
customers,
written one point. Yeah.
yeah.
From now onwards, we have also written a point in our invoice that if there is any major change in our bank details or anything like that, please confirm us before making any payment by 2 or 3 mediums, like by email and phone calls,
Yeah, right.
to
True.
avoid cyber frauds.
Yes. And also, Hardik, I would suggest you that please change all your passwords. Ask your customers to change the passwords if they have,
Okay.
your company's application or something
Yeah,
like
right.
that, login information. So just send them an email like State Bank of India sends regular messages and emails that please do not get lured or do not click on these links. State Bank never asks you to do this, do that. So send these, educatory messages to your customers and guide them. Have a webinar, have an online session with your customers, or you can release it on your website or stuff like
Right.
that. You can send them personalized videos that please never do this, never do that. Have a list and share this
Yes.
incident so that everyone is vigilant and they do not commit this mistake again.
Right.
Because
Right.
all humans and 99.99% such emails, are they go undetected. So
Yeah.
yeah, do that.
Thank
And
you.
thank you very much.
Sharma ji, you have a question?
Good evening. This is Kadir from India. Right now, I'm working in Tamil Nadu College of Arts and Science. I have two questions for you. Before do that, your presentation is very good. It's very informative, and I have two questions for you. The first question is, whenever I'm opening my mail, I'm getting 50 mails, 60 mails. This purely it's there from advertisement agency. Even I'm an
From, sorry, they're
advertisement
from
agency
advertisement. Okay.
advertisements. Even if I unsubscribe, even I'm getting a same message from. So is there any way to prevent this kind of message? This is the first question. And second question is the issue is faced by my colleague. He has recently downloaded one software from the internet. After downloading that software, the file which is in the C drive, E drive, D drive, all the files which is corrupted. Then if you open that file, he is having that message that you need to pay some money. So these kind of issue, how we can solve?
Okay, so the issue I'll address first is with your colleague. So if he downloaded a software, so he should have checked that the website is legitimate. And I hope it was not a free software download because that's not good. If it is with a reputed company, they don't give you free softwares. Second, if all his files are corrupted, they're not corrupted, basically they are encrypted. And if he's getting this message, that means clearly it is a case of a ransomware attack. Ransomware does not need to take place with the Fortune 1000 companies or Fortune 500 companies. It can happen to anyone. See, if you have money, if you are already a victim, right? So he should not have done that. He should have been more vigilant in downloading stuff. Safe web practices should have been practiced. And second is like, I hope if he would have a backup of all his information, then he does not need to pay anything. He can just wipe off his laptop. But if he has backup, he can restore it, obviously, correctly. And second, the case which you told that you are getting a lot of advertisement emails, that is very common. Everyone gets that. This is because, are you using social media?
Almost in all social media platform I was using.
Yes. And do you do online shopping on the same
Yes,
laptop
I
or
do.
same computer? Okay. So
Yes,
that
I
is
do.
known as big data analysis. They just take whatever you shop, they, Google or any such website, they take information, they process it, and they sell it to different vendors. So for example, you have bought clothes, you'll get advertisements of different websites, selling you cheap clothing stuffs or, at a lesser price. So this is all normal. What you can do is, you can have a separate email account so that you don't get on your professional email all these messages. And if you have, you can filter the emails. Like, okay, if you get any advertisements, you can always do report spam. That will go into your spam folder. You can block them, but never open them or never click on them. That's the only thing. You cannot be prevented from getting that thing. But if you want, you can have a good router, or you can have a good software like Proofpoint or ForcePoint downloaded, which would prevent spam emails coming to you. Or if you use good routers, for example, Netgear, the modern routers, they prevent, they filter the spam emails coming to your network. So yeah, that's the preventive measures you can use. But otherwise, if you get them, don't click on them, just filter them.
Thank you.
Sharmaji, you have a question?
Yes, good evening, Jagat Bhai, and
Yeah,
good
good
evening,
evening.
Madam Chahak. You had made a very nice presentation. Actually, I was kind of victim to this email phishing. My Hotmail account was hacked about 2 years ago. Till date, I haven't got it. So I sent all the papers, all the password, whatever they asked, but somehow these Hotmail or these guys are very, very, very fussy, and they didn't return it. And can we report such crimes where no financial loss has occurred?
Yeah, so I mean, just for Shahid and for everyone, J.K. Sharma ji was our Consul General of India in
Okay.
UK.
Okay.
Thank you, Sharma ji.
And this happened after my retirement, Jagat Bhai.
Acha, oh, okay.
Not while I was serving, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you had told me.
My oldest email account is not with me today.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Chahid, what do you say to that?
Yes, sir. So yes, you can definitely report. You can check with your nearest police station that what is the cyber cell contact number, or you can visit cybercrime gov.in, the website, or the best and the safe way is to report to your nearest police station, because they can guide you what is your cyber cell or who is the contact for the cyber cell. So just start with that, and you can definitely, yes, report that, and you should report that.
And tell me, like, there's so many cyber crimes happening against our bank accounts of our friends and colleagues. And bank, most of the time, banks washes their hands off of the whole thing. So how to get out of it if somebody has managed to steal some money by stealing the password or whatever, in whatever fashion? Can we insure it, or what is the protection to the customers available in our financial setup?
So my father-in-law, he is the DM of State Bank of India, and he deals with the cyber branch only, cyber crime and these money
Bhai knows what I
laundering.
am talking about. Jagat Bhai is fully aware of the case.
Yeah,
Yes.
correct.
So that's what I'm telling you, that he tells me the cases that daily around 150 to 200 such cases happen where the transfer or the fraud of money varies from a small amount to a big amount. So what you can do is create awareness among your customers, like rural areas. There's a place in, I think, Jharkhand, near to Jharkhand, Jamtara, which is the biggest hub of such frauds. Like, they have a whole nexus there, and those are the people who are creating a lot of fake calls and bank frauds. So that is the place. And what you can do is, first of all, create an open awareness training sessions in rural areas in person. Go to them because they don't have access to smartphones and anything. Go there, and banks should conduct such sessions with different schools, colleges, even homes, in different residential sections. There's a lot you can do, right?
No, my problem was personal, madam. I wanted to ask how to really get the money back from this Jamtara kind of frauds, because ultimately it doesn't come back to you. Bank doesn't pay you back, and police cannot trace him. That's it.
Yep. So most of the times it happens that your money doesn't come to you, and but sometimes it is retrieved if the person is a newbie. The attacker is a newbie. So what you can do is, obviously, if you have committed a fraud, it is because of your carelessness, or you were not that vigilant. So obviously the bank, I don't know the the legal proceedings, but obviously the bank is
ma'am.
not going to pay you the
Once
money.
again, my submission was that in the first place, how a bank leaked my son's name and his phone number and the branch in which he was having an account. Is it not the fault of the bank that how those details reach these Jamtara fraud chaps? We cannot
Sir,
hold the
a
bank responsible.
bank does not leak your information.
Then how he got it? It's a salary account.
I know. They might have hacked into your network. They might have sent you some email or some message. You might have clicked on that thing.
No idea.
Do you have any mobile application in your phone? SBI or whatever bank you use?
ICICI.
ICICI. You
By
have
the
that
way,
mobile
ICICI
application?
leads in such frauds. Yeah.
Yep. Do you have any mobile application for that bank?
No, it was never used. Only some ATM cards were being used, and that's it.
So you never went to any
No,
ICICI website?
no online shopping, no internet use of the account, nothing of the sort, nothing.
Then I think, sir, if this is the case that you have never used it online and no mobile application, you should definitely go to ICICI Bank and file a police complaint then.
Yeah, but it
Then
didn't
it is
work.
not
Nah, we
it's
tried and
not on
tried.
you
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So there is one question in the chat. If you can. Before that, George, you had a question. George has a question.
Yes,
Yeah, George.
Shekha, your presentation was very well done. You gave the information in very simple terms, any layman could understand it. Thank you. You mentioned about router. How about devices like we hear Apple products like iPhone and MacBook Pro and so on are safer than the others? So what has been your experience?
Yes, definitely. Even in the last ransomware section, this was a question that are MacBooks more safe than Android and other Windows? Yes, they are. And that is because of the chips they are using. Now Apple has their in-house, they're making their microchips in-house, and they're not lending it to other companies. So here is where the supply chain attacks come in place. So what happens is that every other company, they are making some parts here, they are lending the making of some parts there, microchips are somewhere else, motherboard is being made somewhere else. So this is a supply chain. So what happens is that when those different parts, they come together, when you assemble them, you are not sure that, okay, some, code, there might have been a code flaw in some part, there might have been another flaw in some part. So when you combine that all together to make a laptop or a computer or a phone, that bug is in your system on a whole. So yes, the supply chain attack is very serious, and it's been let go or being ignored most of the times. So that is why Apple is more secure, because it has no supply chain. They are making it all in-house.
Thank you.
So yes, I got the question from Som Fatehpuria that, yeah, I've replied to you that emails don't contain two domains together, .com, .co. I just explained in the slide also. So be vigilant with such typo mistakes. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, hi Chahat. Thanks for the presentation. It was really helpful for us. Chahat, my question is that I do keep an eye for these kind of anomalies. I presently use a professional email service from GoDaddy. Now, when they gave me this email, they advertise that no, they have world-class spam filtering, yada yada yada. But when I actually started using it, I've actually got 3 or 4 accounts with them. The one that I use to connect with my customers, it has like insane amount of spam coming in, and spam, like in earlier it was like all the Nigerian phishing scam. Then they grew advanced when I was like talking to my customers about like payments. They started the mail started coming in like, click this link, you'll get your payment, or click on this link to pay, the name of my customer, uh, things like that. It got up to that point that I was getting 15 to 20 emails, and some of the people from my staff were mistakenly clicking it is a part of being human, you make mistakes like this.
True.
Some of them were clicking it, and then they say this is something fishy, and then we have to have that kind of problems. I contacted GoDaddy n number of times. It has been like 8 to 9 months now. They always tell me to change your passwords, change your network passwords. Like, we have done everything in the book to solve this, but this is so fair, I would say stressful. We have stopped using our accounts and started using the Gmail accounts, which supposedly are much more safer. We have never faced an issue on that. So I don't know whom to blame in this. Like, we have done everything to save ourselves. We know basic security, how things to be worked, how you need to keep proper passwords, proper Wi-Fi password, proper network password, proper devices. And again, we use MacBooks and things like that for our purpose. But still, as J.K. Sharma sir pointed out, like, they always watch their GoDaddy guys. They always watch around us. No, we have run. Your account is fully secured. We have done everything on our part. It's your fault. It's your network's fault. Things like that. But if you can just, I'm sure many of small business owners like me who use this kind of personal professional accounts would be facing this kind of problem. If you can just tell us what we can do on our part to save ourselves.
Yeah. First of all, you can start using a VPN. Are you using a VPN?
Just 1 moment. Check. Yeah. So I have to leave for another meeting. Okay, you can continue, but Nikhil Bhai is there from our company. Nikhil Sheth, he is there. He will guide further. And this Nikhil Bhai, somebody's voice is on. Just make sure that everybody is kept mute. So friends, I am leaving. I have to go to another meeting and check. So Nikhil Bhai is from our company. He will manage the issue. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, carry on. Check.
Okay. So yes, Bhavik, I have a question that, are you using VPN technology?
No, not at all.
Sorry?
No, we don't use VPN.
Okay. So for a safer web journey, or for a safer web experience, start using a VPN, a good VPN. And I would suggest that not have emails with GoDaddy, or because they are not that reputed as Microsoft Outlook or Gmail accounts are. So go with more safer options. And I know like these companies, they always, wash off their hands and just blame you for all these stuff, because we are just on the upper layer of internet, like which is known as the clear net. But there are layers below